South African Justice Minister Michael Masutha says the government has written to the International Criminal Court to seek clarification. This comes after the court has announced it would hold a public hearing next April to look into whether South Africa failed in its duty by refusing to arrest Sudan's President Omar al-Bashir last week. The court has called on South Africa to send representatives to a hearing next year to explain why it did not execute the ICC warrant to arrest Mr. Bashir while he was in the country. Mr. Bashir was in Johannesburg for an African Union summit in June. South Africa has since announced it will withdraw from the ICC. Joining us now on the program to talk about this is a professor of international law, Professor Akin Oyebode. Thank you for joining us on the program, Professor.
You're welcome.
Now, what clarification do you think South Africa should be seeking from the ICC on its failure to arrest Sudan's President Omar al-Bashir last year?
Well, I believe South Africa has shot itself in the foot because it wants to become a permanent member of the UN Security Council. And by walking out of an international engagement peremptorily will not do it well. It's so clear that under the Rome Statute, once an international search warrant or arrest warrant has been issued against a suspect, the state parties are obliged to deliver up such a person. The fact that South Africa reneged on its commitment is definitely uncharitable, and I really don't know why South Africa decided to exit the ICC. I think maybe South Africa now is beginning to have second thoughts, especially as the West felt a little bit aghast that Africans are voting with their feet. That is what I can put the attitude of South Africa to at the present point in time.
Well, you mentioned that South Africa shot itself in the foot with this decision, but don't you think that the country had a good reason for not arresting him at that time?
Well, you know, it would be quite un-African to hand over an invited guest. South Africa believed that it had a higher duty to protect Omar al-Bashir as the honored guest of the South African government. So caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, South Africa decided to so nicely exit Omar al-Bashir, despite an application that had gone to a South African High Court compelling the government to honor its international obligations. So that is what will explain the attitude of South Africa for failing to deliver Bashir.
Professor Akin Oyebode, thank you so much for your time. We'll continue this conversation some other time.